What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Once again, Michael or Legacy Kill HD back, and as most of the conferences at E3 2017 are finished, I wanted to give you guys my opinions on some of the good, the bad, and the ugly things to come from these events and the whole E3 spectacle. I'm not going to go through everything, but I want to at least go through the things that were talked about the most from each conference and during the whole event. So I'll definitely cover the conferences that came before E3 actually even began. This includes mainly Sony, Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft, Nintendo, and Bethesda. But I will certainly touch on the PC gaming show and, well, whatever Devolver was doing. That was insane. So prepare yourself for the highlights like the Assassin's Creed Origins reveal and disappointing moments like Bethesda's conference that was Fry Festival 2017 level of disappointment for me. Nonetheless, I want to start off by discussing the awkward moments that happened, and for the most part this E3 was pretty good about steering away from that. Unfortunately, Jesse Wellens, a YouTuber at EA Play, when he was discussing or while trying to discuss Need for Speed Payback, gave probably the cringiest moment.
What up, guys? Thank you for having me, EA. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Jesse Wellens, and I am a YouTube creator. So I am here to talk about Need for Speed Payback. If you guys didn't know, Need for Speed Payback, I
mean, you have to feel bad for the guy. And other than that, if you watch YouTube's E3 coverage, Melanie Mac's attempted reading of tweets was just extremely awkward. Maybe not her fault, it just felt really weird.
I can't. Holy beyond good and evil too, I'm crying!
There were also some weird developer interviews, but for the most part, presentation at these events felt a lot better, so yeah, pretty A-okay. So now let's begin with the EA conference. EA Play gave us a reveal of A Way Out, which is a prison escaping co-op couch game, which looks pretty good. Additionally, EA showed off their sport games, which all look, again, a lot better. I mean, I think a lot of them have story modes now. Madden introduced that. Seems like FIFA's going to be continuing their story. All good. BioWare's next game, Anthem, was teased from Microsoft's conference, which we'll discuss in a bit, but Star Wars Battlefront 2 got most of the attention, which I did enjoy, but I wish they had concentrated more on the single player. Other than that, it wasn't a bad conference, just a bit underwhelming. I was hopeful to see something on the Star Wars game being made by Visceral Games, and maybe more new IPs. Either way, I wasn't really disappointed by EA Play just because I really did not expect much. But next is Microsoft, which unveiled the Xbox One X, releasing November 7th at $499, a very affordable price, and it looks phenomenal. So I felt like I had to pause the video because after listening back and hearing the words affordable, I know someone's going to say something about $499 not being affordable. When I say that, I mean that with the technology that they used. A lot of people are estimating it could be up to $600–700, but it's only $499, which a lot of people were shocked by. So I think I just wanted to add some clarification. But I'm still not quite sure if Microsoft gave gamers a reason to buy it over, say, the Xbox One S. We then got our first look at Metro Exodus, which I am so excited for. I've been a diehard fan of this franchise since the beginning. I just can't wait. It was a huge shocker. Although it appears there's no exclusive content for this, it was merely just presented on Microsoft's stage and it will be utilizing the Xbox One X features. Anthem was another big game shown and it looks great so far. Kind of feels like a mashup of Destiny and Crysis. Let's just hope BioWare can deliver a better game than their last. Middle-earth Shadow of War got a new trailer. Can't explain how excited I am to play this later this year. Some of the exclusive games we got to see were State of Decay 2, Crackdown 3, Forza 7, and Sea of Thieves, which all look very impressive. The next, I don't know how many games didn't really look all that appealing other than the Last Night, Ashen, and the revealed PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds coming to the Xbox One as a console exclusive, which is awesome. But for the most part, this conference was solid, nothing that blew my socks off, but a great presentation. After that was Bethesda's turn, and we got a reveal of Dishonored DLC, The Evil Within 2, and Wolfenstein 2, which look absolutely amazing, but that was pretty much it for Bethesda. Not sure conference was needed for that. But they did also show off Fallout 4 VR and Doom VFR, which you get VFR is VFR. Hey, I like it. In addition, Skyrim was shown on the Switch, which I'm kind of tired of seeing Skyrim being released everywhere. Almost feels that at E3 2018 they'll announce it for iOS and Android, but I get it, money is money. The only real anger I have for this conference is the Creation Club, which should have been described better by Bethesda because it sounds like paid mods, and if you don't know, Bethesda got in trouble with that just a couple years ago with Valve and that whole controversy. It was just such a huge mess. But the Creation Club is actually new mods that are brought to Bethesda game studios by approved modders or external developers, then worked on collaboratively and released as official DLC that you have to buy, which is interesting, but it does not seem like the community wanted this at all, and it just puts Bethesda back into a bad place. Of all the conferences, this was the most disappointing. It even felt like Pete Hines felt that way. A lot of us expected to see some new shocking announcements, but that did not happen, and if you were hopeful for Starfield or maybe a spin-off of Fallout or Elder Scrolls in 2017, you're going to be waiting a bit longer. Now I want to skip ahead to the Ubisoft Conference, which I personally think was the best, which is honestly a huge surprise, although that Just Dance 2018 segment was cringy, and unneeded to say the least. I mean, I have to think that somebody liked it, so yeah. But as I said before, Ubisoft had a great conference that's highlighted by the shocking reveal of Beyond Good and Evil 2, which I think most of us never thought would happen. But we also got strong new looks at Far Cry 5 and Assassin's Creed Origins that look, in my opinion, completely different than their recent installments, but let's be honest, it probably is a smart move as both of these series have been suffering from fatigue. Ubisoft gave us a new look at South Park: The Fractured But Whole and gave a release date of October 27th, 2017, which kind of surprised me, and we got an unveiling of a mashup of Mario and Rabbids, which isn't for me, but it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Other reveals included Skull and Bones, which is pretty much Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag's naval combat as a standalone game, which looks great, and Starlink Battle for Atlas, which looks like No Man's Sky 2.0, which does not look good in my opinion. But for the most part, Ubisoft gave a great conference and presentation. It was really strengthened and fueled by new surprising reveals. Sony is next, which I have to say it was underwhelming, but it was going to be difficult to create a better conference than last year's. The only shocker, if you want to call it that, was Shadow of the Colossus being remaked. We got some amazing new trailers of Detroit Become Human, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, God of War, and Horizon Zero Dawn DLC. More Days Gone gameplay was shown, and I was surprised to see that it will release at the end of 2017. Other than that, we got some VR games that look alright. I think I took a bathroom break during that time. Third-party games such as Destiny 2 and Call of Duty World War II got new trailers, which looked great until I realized Call of Duty altered the swastika for the Iron Cross, which I really don't like history being PG down or altered in any way, but I get it. There's apparently restrictions in some countries like Germany, but I find it funny it is used in Wolfenstein 2. But the highlight of this show has to be the first Spider-Man gameplay, which brought me back to the PlayStation 2 days playing Spider-Man 2. Really can't explain how excited I am for this, and it did get revealed that it will be coming in 2018, hopefully sooner than later. Overall, it was a good conference. Still feel disappointment as I was hopeful to see The Last of Us Part 2 or maybe even Red Dead Redemption 2. Before we get to Nintendo, I quickly want to brush over the PC Gaming Show and Devolver Showcase. The PC Gaming Show showed off and had some great games and reveals such as XCOM 2 DLC, Age of Empires Definite Edition, and more gameplay of Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, which still doesn't have a release date after being announced almost 5 years ago. Crazy. The Devolver Digital Showcase was just insane. A very crazy presentation, and I think that's really the only thing I can say about their conference. I mean, it was only 15 minutes. But next we have is Nintendo. Probably the biggest surprise had to be Metroid Prime 4 being announced. Can't wait to finally get a new Metroid game that we actually want to play. Other than that, we got some great new looks at Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild DLC. There were some other reveals like the new Yoshi and Kirby games, but overall a pretty good conference from Nintendo, mainly highlighted by Metroid Prime 4 being announced, which again, I just can't wait for. Lastly, overall, E3 2017 contained a lot of shocking reveals such as Beyond Good and Evil 2, Metro Exodus, and Metroid Prime 4. But I think a lot of us expected to see more reveals like Borderlands 3, a new Bioshock, Sucker Punch's next game, and Starfield. Other games that a lot of us wanted to see, even though it was unlikely to begin with, were Red Dead Redemption 2, The Last of Us Part 2, Death Stranding, and Cyberpunk 2077. A lot of great moments at E3 2017. The only bad moments probably had to be the VR games and lack of exclusive titles for the Xbox One, other than a bunch of indie games. Also, say what you want, but I prefer having developers get on stage and talk about their games, and it seems like at least during Bethesda and Sony's conferences, it was just trailers and that was it. Now, the only ugly moments really has to be Bethesda's conference, which they should have just explained the Creation Club more because that trailer was far from enough. Anyway guys, what do you make of E3 2017? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Make sure to smack that like button if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, and consider subscribing to stay up to date on huge upcoming games like Assassin's Creed Origins or Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'll see you later.